Hello, everybody. Buenos dias. Today we're going to be talking about poetry, all things poetry. All you'll need to know for this is whenever I say poesía, I am talking about poetry. But first, what is a poem? ¿Qué es un poema? A poem's a type of writing where we try to tell a story or make the reader see an image of the things that we're writing or talking about. Poetry is usually written in lines instead of complete sentences. Not every line's got to be a total complete sentence. Some poems use language in creative ways to make the reader focus on the sounds of the words or on the pictures that you're imagining, or both things. And poems can use a whole bunch of different strategies or techniques to make an impact, including a metaphor, which is when you make a comparison of two very, very different things, not using words like as or like. So, for example, in that famous Shakespeare play, Act 2, Scene 2, where Romeo sees Juliet and he says, "Ah, Juliet is the sun." Well, he's comparing her to the sun, but he's not saying as or like. Okay. We're going to be looking at a couple of poets today. This is going to tie into our story, the La Coleccionista de Palabras. And the two that I'm going to focus on are Stephen Mallarmé, a French poet, and Octavio Paz, a Mexican poet. Now, Mallarmé, the guy that we just looked at, was really groundbreaking because in the late 1800s, he wrote a pretty strange poem. While all of them were for the most part pretty controlled, his looked like this on the page, which was pretty scattered for the time. The poem is called Un coup de dés jamais n'abolira le hasard, which is the way you say in French, a roll of the dice doesn't undo chance. And so this poem kind of started a firestorm, and before you knew it, people were interested in using words in really, really creative ways, just like we saw in Coleccionista de Palabras. Some poems, called calligrams, would just outline the shape of whatever they're talking about. Like you can see here, this horse, this envelope, this cat down here. Other poems that we can call concrete poems, or you've probably heard them called shape poems in your classroom, actually take the shape of the things that they are writing about. Here's an example of a shape poem or a concrete poem by George Herbert. It's supposed to look like a pair of wings. And then here is one by Octavio Paz, the writer that we mentioned at the beginning. Totally different, totally unique. This one says palm of the traveler. So it's supposed to kind of be like a hand, the palm of your hand, palm of the traveler. Interesting and pretty unique once you look at concrete poems or the calligrams. This is very different. It's kind of like its own kind of art. Here you have another calligram by a writer named Apollinaire, and this one's supposed to kind of look like rain falling down, which I kind of think it does. And over here, another very, very unique poem by Octavio Paz. Doesn't exactly fit the categories of the poems that we've talked about. Not really a shape poem, not really a calligram, but something that blends art and poetry, right? Word art. Lastly, what I want you to do, and this is assuming that you already read Coleccionista de Palabras with me, you're going to create your own unique word art. It can be like Octavio Paz, or it can look like a calligram, or it can be its own concrete shape poem. But you're going to use words in a creative way to make your own poem. When you're done writing your poem, you can record it in a video and show it off to us on Canvas, or you can take a picture of it, and then you can upload it directly to Canvas. I cannot wait to see what you guys come up with. Los quiero mucho. I will see you soon. Hasta pronto. Adios.